What is he?
Oh no, it's Ragiroth Enterprises!
I love to sing about the moon and the June and the springer. I love to sing about a sky of blue or a keyboard cue, anything with.
How's it going, everybody? This is Ragiroth Enterprises here today with another video. For this video, I'm actually talking about a game I have not talked about at all on my channel. A fighting game that I like, but I guess I sort of just forgot about or put to the side, as there hasn't really been anything big with it happening until E3, and that is Dead or Alive. I did not expect Dead or Alive 6 to be announced at E3. I actually thought Mortal Kombat 11 was more likely to be announced at E3, and we saw how that went. We kind of figured that if Dead or Alive 6 was happening, it was probably a bit farther off. But no, apparently it's coming, and it's coming not that far from now, assuming it doesn't get delayed, like early 2019. So you know how it's always got to be when a fighting game is coming out or being announced. I have to say what characters I want in the game. I think we have like 4 or 6 characters announced. I think it's Ryu, Kasumi, Zack, Janli, Hayate, and Helena. So yeah, they're the 6 we got. Hayabusa or Ryu, whatever, has been my favorite character since I really got in the series, like Dead or Alive 3 or 2 technically. And he's already in the game, thankfully, so he's already out of the way, really. So now, for this list, I'm mostly talking about returning characters I want to see in the game that have been playable in any game up to 5. And I guess the thing is, like, Dead or Alive has never really had a huge roster, even with going up to 5. So it's just 10 picks and like maybe a few honorable mentions. I'm not really worried about too many of them. And I'm going to do another list for guest characters that can be added. There are technically 2 guest characters on this list, but I'll explain why they're on this list when I get to them. So, alright, here we go. For the number 10 spot, I have Ein. Ein is an interesting case. He's basically Hayate when he got amnesia from a battle with Raido way back when. And I guess he kind of thought he was this guy named Ein who learned karate from, I think, Hitomi and her dojo. Ein, I remember he wasn't in the initial roster for D.O.A 5. He wasn't added until Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate, and I guess that's because Hayate is just kind of he's just been back to his regular self, and they kind of don't want to have any characters that were involved in the story. Now I much prefer Hayate, but it's still kind of nice to have Ein. I really miss his trench coat look from Dead or Alive 3. I think an easy way to kind of have him in the story, or he doesn't have to be in the story really, but they probably would keep it like that, is just have him be like kind of an alter ego for Hayate, and I think he might even did that in 5. I don't remember. Maybe 4. I don't remember. But I think even if they had never done it before, I think it's a pretty simple thing to do. This would just be kind of an alias he can go under when he's undercover, not running around as ninja garb. I think that works out well. And I mean, he's a freaking super ninja. He can kind of alter his fighting style back to karate, so that's not really an issue. I think he is probably not super likely, at least not for the base roster, but I think it is possible. I think that's really all I can say with Ein. Like I said, I just want him to get his damn full trench coat outfit back from 3. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but whatever. So, alright, let's move on to number 9. For number 9, I got Neo Tengu. Neo Tengu was kind of a, I guess, replacement character in, I think, Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate or Last Round. She was one of the DLC characters or something like that. For, I guess, the character Tengu. And I think, because, well, with Dead or Alive, usually it's the females that are more popular. And, like, Tengu, I mean, I don't hate the guy, but he is he is probably the lamest boss in the series, and he is in the most games for whatever reason. So it was kind of cool to kind of see his playstyle given to someone who looks a bit more appealing, looking with a bit more personality, that isn't just reusing the same boss over and over. And I like Neo Tengu, she's kind of low on this list, but I still do really like her. I would actually be okay if they brought Tengu instead, if he has that alternate he had. I think it's an alternate he's always had. Where he's like purple and has all the spikes. I like that much more than his default, where he's got the puffy outfit, the Santa Claus beard, and all that. I mean, I still think I overall prefer Neo Tengu, but if for some reason they decide to bring back Tengu, he's got to have that look, or I'm not going to be happy at all. I personally think he's kind of done. I think that's why they introduced Neo Tengu. As for her chances, I don't really know, because it's like I don't really know what her place in the story is. They could just find a way to incorporate her. I feel like she'd probably be a bad guy, or at least maybe a bad guy turning good. Because she seems like she'd probably be more likely to be good, unlike Tengu. So I think that's all I really can say for her. I don't really know what her chances are. I'd like to say they're decent, but I can't really say for sure. You got to see more of the game and, what her place in the story is. All right, so moving on to number 8. Okay, number 8 is Ayane. I'm honestly not worried about Ayane being in the game at all. I almost didn't put her on this list, but I do really like her. She's definitely one of my favorite female characters in the series. I'm not worried about her because if there's a Sub-Zero if there's a Sub-Zero and Scorpion or Ryu and Ken in the series, it would be Kasumi and Ayane. Ayane is the Scorpion to Kasumi's Sub-Zero, I'd say. I don't really know. I don't really know what more to say here. I'm curious to see how her default look will be. I'm honestly not that crazy about Kasumi's default look. I don't dislike it, but I think it is a step down from kind of that black ninja outfit she had in D.O.A. 5. I'm hoping she has that in alternate. And I'm curious to see what they do with Ayane. Hopefully it'll be more like her D.O.A. 5 one, because I think she was always a little more covered up anyway, and they're kind of trying to go for a more conservative look with the characters in the game, I guess, at least for the defaults. So yeah, all I can really say to Ayane, not worried about her being in the game at all. I would not be surprised if she's one of the characters revealed next. So, alright, moving on to number 7. Alright, number 7 is Mila. Mila was one of the characters added into the vanilla version of D.O.A. 5. I think one of the only new characters, actually. I personally really liked her. I love her design. She's really cool. I like her spunky personality. I mean, she didn't really have much to do in the story. I guess it's a lot of new characters they always add. It's maybe some are very story important, and then some are kind of just, I don't want to say filler, but they're just kind of off doing their own kind of thing. She's more in that latter category. I mean, I still think, we're going to have characters that aren't the most important, honestly. And I think when it comes to those characters, she's actually probably one of my favorites. I love playing as her. Her fighting style is pretty cool, with kind of the, I guess, mid-combo submission holds. I think it's definitely pretty unique. Hopefully maybe they expand upon that. I mean, she was a little tricky to use. I feel like I guess because of her size, she had very kind of low. She didn't have the best range, and I think being kind of so throw focused was kind of tricky. But I guess that's what made her unique. I thought she was pretty good. So I hope she's back. I think she's probably most likely to be back. I don't know how popular she was considered. Can't see them getting rid of her after one game, so I'm sure she's back. Okay, that's all I can say for Mila, so moving on to number 6. Okay, number 6 is Momiji. Now, this is where I was saying where I would talk about guest characters. Now, the reason Momiji is on this list, she's from Ninja Gaiden, which is another game series, granted. However, Ninja Gaiden, at least from what I can tell, I think actually takes place kind of in the same universe as D.O.A. That's why, we obviously, Ryu's the main character in Ninja Gaiden. He's one of the main characters in this. Ayane's in Ninja Gaiden, and Kasumi actually even recently made an appearance in the Razor's Edge version of Ninja Gaiden 3. She might have actually appeared before that, but she wasn't actually properly playable until the Razor's Edge version of Ninja Gaiden 3. So 3 of the main characters are in Ninja Gaiden, so I think it's safe to say it takes place in the universe. Granted, it is weird to think that all these kind of demon invasions are happening and the just less harmful D.O.A. tournaments are happening, but whatever. Ninja Gaiden to me is kind of what Final Fight is to Street Fighter for Dead or Alive. And Momiji and another character on my list, which you can probably guess, are basically the Cody and Guy for Dead or Alive. I think at the very least they should be considered that. Now, I don't know. I want to say Momiji is fairly popular. But I don't know for sure. I don't know. I think she's going to be back. I just don't know if she'll be in the base roster. I mean, I personally would like if they just kind of made her base roster involved in the story. There's really no, with such an emphasis on the ninja characters, there's really no reason you can't have her in the story. It would be very easy, just be someone that, Ryu would ask for help or something like that, or maybe someone that wants to help Ryu, but Ryu is no, I don't need your help, I don't want you to endanger you, or something like that. I actually forget if Momiji is actually kind of a love interest to Ryu. I forget. I don't think she is. He has probably a couple potential love interests, but I would really like Momiji back. I really enjoyed how she fought in Dead or Alive 5. I would actually kind of like, because it seems like this game is a bit more violent, and I think the attacks are a bit more, I guess, exaggerated, a little more over the top. I would maybe like to see her use a weapon at least a bit, maybe in her super move. Maybe some more fire attacks. I would really like to see more of that. I know it's not every character has these abilities, so it might be a little overpowered, but hopefully there's a way to balance that. I think it would make her a little more interesting, but even still, I love how she plays in Dead or Alive regardless. So hopefully she's back. But moving on to number 5. Oh, speak of the devil. Number 5 is Rachel. Rachel is another character that debuted in Ninja Gaiden, but again, made it in Dead or Alive 5 is, I think, a DLC. No, that's right. Her and Momiji, I think, were added in Dead or Alive 5 last round with, like, Ayn and I think Jackie and Leon. Yeah, Rachel's another Ninja Gaiden girl. She's been around, like, even, I think, in ways longer than Momiji. She debuted in the first Ninja Gaiden and was made playable in, I think, Ninja Gaiden Sigma. Rachel's awesome. You know, I was really happy she made it in as well. I always loved playing as her in the Ninja Gaiden games as well. Bigger, kind of a, well, not bigger. Well, okay, bigger in one area. Like a kind of a bulkier, slower character. And she basically played like that in Dead or Alive 5. I really did like how she played. However, I do wish, kind of like Momiji, she had more of that mysticism in her moveset, because I really liked that. I forget the name of the spell she had. It was like her unique Nimpo. It was really cool. I'd really like if she used maybe at least a little bit that of her movesets. And I feel like her moveset was a little more bare. I'm not the first one to notice that too. So I hope maybe they give her a bit more moves. Now, as for her chances, I'd say maybe in the same boat as Momiji. Unfortunately, though, I think I heard Rachel is not very popular in Japan, which is pretty upsetting to me, because she's pretty awesome. And, I mean, she's pretty hot, too. Like, come on. But, you know, it's different tastes in Japan. Nothing I can really do about that. And maybe, you know, because apparently they are trying to appeal more to the Western audience, so maybe that'll kind of increase Rachel's chances. I think she will be back, but like Momiji, I'm just concerned she won't be on the main roster. But again, I think with her ties to Ryu and some of the other Ninja Gaiden characters, there should be no reason you can't find a reason for her to fit in the story. So I think that's all for Rachel. So moving on to number 4. My number 4 pick is none other than Rig. Rig was the other new character added in Dead or Alive 5, the vanilla version included in the story and all that. Rig has probably become one of my favorite D.O.A characters. I love his design, I love his fighting style, I love his personality. His story was kind of cool, and it kind of had an interesting twist. I also think it's interesting that not only is he one of the only characters to know Taekwondo that isn't Korean, but he's also, I think, one of the only characters that's Canadian in any fighting game, period. I think the only one I can think of is, like, what, like Wolf from Virtua Fighter, maybe? I don't know anyone else. But no, Rig is awesome. He's one of my main characters, and I think I don't see there being any likelihood of him not making it in. I don't know how popular he was, but again, he was one of the only new characters introduced in the actual vanilla version of Dead or Alive 5 with the story. But also, there was a big twist with him at the end where he was kind of like, I think from what I remember, he was kind of an amnesiac, or maybe he kind of was playing dumb on who he really was. It turns out he was the son of Donovan, like, I guess, kind of the main villain of Dead or Alive, and I guess it turns out he was a bad guy, and he kind of escaped, I think, with Donovan. So I think they were kind of, you know, this was to kind of build him up in the next game to have a bigger, more villainous role, which on one hand is cool, on one hand kind of sucks, because, you know, this probably means Rig might not be playable in the story mode, but I don't know. I don't know how things are going to go with that. I'm really hoping he gets announced soon. I feel like he would, because they want to show off at least one of the newer characters. But yeah, I'm not really worried about him not making it. I think it would be absolutely ridiculous if he didn't make it. And I'd like to see what they do with him. So yeah, moving on to number 3. Number 3 is Christy. Christy has been one of my mains alongside Ryu since I got into Dead or Alive. You know, mainly 3, of course, because that's when she debuted. I was actually really upset that she wasn't in Dead or Alive Ultimate, because that, I guess I was supposed to be Dead or Alive 2, and they were only adding one Dead or Alive 3 character. But yeah, Christy has been always one of my mains. She's awesome, and I think she's been pretty important in the story for the most part. Like, she's always been kind of like I feel like she's kind of like the Ada Wong of Dead or Alive. Maybe the Nina Williams. I don't know about that. Just in terms, she's kind of this mysterious assassin. She is, I think, usually on the bad guy side, and I feel like, you know, I feel like they kind of need her for that. Unfortunately, I did hear, kind of like Rachel, she is not considered very popular in Japan at all, which is definitely very upsetting to me. Like, what the hell? However, I'm much less worried about her than I am Rachel, just because she's had such a bigger part in the franchise for a long time. She kind of fills like one of the only female villain roles, and I mean, I'm sure she's at least maybe popular in America. I'm not sure. I mean, she was one of the main characters in the Dead or Alive movie, if that's saying much. But But yeah, I'm not too worried about Christy despite maybe her popularity in Japan. I'm hoping she comes back. Nothing more I can really say there. So yeah, moving on to my number 2 pick. Alright, my number 2 pick is Ragiroth. I'm assuming I'm saying his name right. The villain of the first Dead or Alive game. He was in Dead or Alive Dimensions, and he was actually brought back in Dead or Alive 5, I think last round, like the last round version. And I was very happy about that, and I thought it was really cool. They kind of gave him like a cybernetic look, I guess, to kind of show that he's come back, he's being fixed up, he's no longer dead or whatever. Which I'm hoping this means this meant that they want to include him in the story down the road. They just didn't do it for Dead or Alive 5 last round because they just didn't want to bother adding any more story stuff. And I mean, I guess I feel like he fit in the game more. Like he only had I think like 1 or 2 projectiles, and I was so happy to see his ultimate move being the beatdown he gave to Hayate in that kind of the opening cinema for Dead or Alive Ultimate, or Dead or Alive 2 Ultimate. So that was cool. I'd like to say, I don't really know what his chances are. I'd like to say they're okay. They're probably not like, he's probably one of the, fortunately, the lesser likely characters on this list, but I'd still say he is an okay shot, just not a great shot. But I really do hope they make it in, and hope they maybe go a little more with his kind of dark magic powers and things like that, make his moves even more brutal now that it's a more violent game. So yeah, before I move on to my number 1 pick, I always gotta have those honorable mentions, and my honorable mentions this time are Lisa, or La Mariposa, Elliot, Bayman, and Alpha 152. But if Alpha 152 is in the game, can she please not be the boss? Because I'm a little tired of her being the boss, and I just always had PTSD of fighting her in Dead or Alive 4. Oh my god, that was absolutely terrible. I think all these characters, except for Alpha, are super likely. Okay, so for my number 1 pick, it is none other than Genra, or Omega, however you want to call him. Genra was the boss of Dead or Alive 3, and was never actually playable. He wasn't playable in Dead or Alive 3, but he was made playable in Dead or Alive Dimensions. And he was one of my favorite characters. He's probably my favorite boss in the series. I think his design is sick. I guess it also helps because D.O.A 3 was the first game I owned. So, like, it was, I guess he was like the first real boss I fought in the game to me. I mean, he's got a freaking double-bladed, like, lightsaber, for Christ's sake, and shoots lightning. How's that not awesome? And funnily enough, you'd think he'd be overpowered, but in Dead or Alive Dimensions, I think he was actually considered one of the weaker characters on the tier list. I guess because he was kind of slow and lumbering. Now, I don't really know what his chances are to come back. I think, unfortunately, the only way I think he's probably going to come back is if Donovan kind of becomes like a boss character and he kind of gains some of Genra's, I guess, design or maybe abilities. I know like that mask he always wears is kind of remnant of the mask Genra has on. I mean, honestly, I think maybe it's like DLC or something. Or maybe he'd be the sub-boss. I don't know. Maybe Donovan would be the main boss and Genra would be the sub-boss. I mean, that's a pretty crazy sub-boss. But I mean, hey, it's happened before. Some games where the boss from a previous game gets demoted to a sub-boss. But I don't know. I don't know how likely that is. But yeah, Genra's awesome. He's probably my favorite boss in the series. I would really like him to come back. Him not being in Dead or Alive 5 is probably the only disappointing aspect of the roster, I guess, well, after it was all said and done. It would have been perfect otherwise. So yeah, I think that's about it for this list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I know I haven't really talked about Dead or Alive that much. Let me know what characters you want to come back, what characters you don't want to come back. Do you agree with my list? Like the video if you like it, dislike if you dislike it. It's a free country. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and like my videos. And as I always say, another time, another place, keep being awesome.